Yo, what's up? I just wanted to make a quick video to describe what's been on my mind lately in regards to cameras and camera lenses and stuff. Currently, I'm shooting with, at the moment, four different lenses, but I have five. And the four I shoot with right now are on rotation. So I usually, three out of them I use pretty regularly. My favorite one is, as I'm recording right here, is the 85 and the 70 to 200. So, typically I'm usually using those and the 24 to 70. The smaller lens you see right here is my 50 millimeter, and I usually don't use that lens, but I am going to start incorporating it, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But I have recently converted from being what would be considered primarily a zoom shooter, because I use the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200 as my primary lenses when I shoot. I usually have one on each camera body. I have the 6D Mark II in the back, and this is my R6 right here. So typically that's what I would shoot with. But I'm noticing, like, now that I've been shooting a lot more weddings lately, that I've been doing a lot more portraits, of course, and the photos have to be top notch because, I'm competing with a lot of other photographers, and they want, of course, clients want the best photos. So about a year ago, I went to ClickCon, and I decided to purchase my 85 millimeter lens. This lens, 85 1.4, and let me tell you, this lens is one of the best lenses that I've ever purchased. Aside from my 70 to 200, I feel like those lenses are amazing. Like, it's hard to choose. I would say the 70 to 200 is one of my favorites just because of the type of images that it could create. I think the 85 millimeter is an excellent portrait lens, but it's sort of limited in a way as compared to the 24 to 70. And let me show you why. Here I have some images that I've taken with the 70 to 200 and the 85, and you can see the differences. They both capture amazing images, and here you can see I shot with the 70 to 200, and this was at 98 millimeters. And I love it because with the 85, I could have never gotten this image because I've zoomed out. And sure, I could have shot this very image with the 85 and it would have been similar because, again, I'm shooting at 98 millimeters. But the nice versatility of having the 70 to 200 is the fact that I could get a shot like this too. And I shot this at 200 millimeter. Something I wouldn't have been able to do with the 85 because I'm only stuck at one focal length, and that's the downside. However, I do believe the upside to having a prime lens, and here's another shot that I took, and I shot this at 155 millimeters. So three different focal lengths, one lens created these different looks. So I really like that the 70 to 200 is so versatile and it shoots amazing. And so, yeah, I love that about it. But I also really love the 85 because I used to be team Zoom, and I had like people telling me, man, prime lenses shoot better than Zoom lenses. Prime lenses are sharper than Zoom lenses. And I was like, yeah, right. Because I was like, man, I could get pretty sharp images with my Zoom. Look how sharp that is. Like, I just kept thinking, this doesn't make any sense. That's pretty sharp, right? And in my mind, when I see sharpness on my images, I just thought, man, these people are they're full of it. But I got to looking at my images recently, and even just looking at other people's work. And I realized that a lot of those people are right. I do believe the 85 in any prime lens, they tend to shoot much sharper. Now, this is the 85 prime lens, and the color is even different. The color, it's much more fuller, much more, it shoots different, right? So this is shot at 85 millimeter, and you zoom in and you could just see the details in this photo are so much more I don't know what it is, but you could get in pretty close and you could see things on people that you didn't see before, and it's just the quality is different. All right. It's just different and it's better. I'm not gonna lie, like this is good, but the way that this is just it's just better. And all these were shot with the 85, and just the image, the way that the light hits the lens, I just love it. And it's just a really great 85 is an amazing lens. Like I used to wonder why people were bragging about this lens. Like why are people so stuck on it, until I fell into it and I realized that, oh my goodness, this thing is amazing. Each one of them have their purposes. So I just wanted to bring that up. But also the dilemma I'm currently having. Like I'm in a dilemma right now where I realize that I have all these lenses and I'm like, okay, I'm done buying lenses. I got all the lenses I want, you know? But when I think about how I got to this place, is I started trying to get better images for my camera, for my clients, right? Better images. And I decided to get the 85, which just upped my photography game. Like I thought the 70 to 200 upped my photography game, but the 85 really upped my photography game. And I would say that whenever I shoot with my 85, I try to, but you can't always shoot with the 85. Number one, you need a lot of space. I was really far away in these images, so you really need a lot of space with the 70 to 200 and the 85. I was pretty far away with all these images, and I would have never been able to shoot this if I didn't have a lot of space. And there are a lot of instances where I don't have a lot of space most of the time. So it's like the second other option I would have would be to shoot with my 70 to 200, this lens. And typically I shoot with that lens, and I've lately noticed that the quality is similar to the 70 to 200, which isn't the same as the 85. Now, let me give you an example, a comparison, because I feel like I've had to oh shoot, where am I right now? Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. So recently I did a test and I decided that I would shoot on the 24 to compare to the 85 and the 50 millimeter, because like I said, I have four lenses. I have the 85 millimeter, which is a prime, the 50 millimeter, which is a prime, the 70 to 200, and the 24 to 70, which are zooms. So basically I'm shooting with these lenses, and I'm realizing I'm shooting with the 85 when I have the space, and I'm shooting with the 24 to 70 when I don't. But the camera quality is so different. So I questioned whether or not I should be shooting when I'm doing portraits, because you can see the image quality isn't the same. And I decided the difference, the quality is so different, that I decided that I would shoot with the 50 millimeter and the 85 rather than the 85 and the 24 to 70. Here's why. Here you can see this is a 24 to 70. And if you know anything about photography, you know that there's with the more wider the focal length, the more you're going to get image distortion on the side, which, that's, I'm trying to zoom into this photo right now. Hold on. Okay, forget it. Okay, there we go. There we go. On the side right here, you can see the table actually does not look like, it looks much wider than it actually is here because of that image distortion. And I am closer a little bit more to the left, and that's why there is image distortion. Now, don't get me wrong. The image it's a nice image. With f2.8, you get a little bit of blur. And even I'm shooting at f4, you still get a blur, which is excellent. Like it's still that nice background blur you see, and I like that, right? So that's good and all, but I thought about how I'm shooting with my 85, and you look at this image. This is my 85, and it, to me, when you compare the 85 to the 24 millimeter, just a shot at 24, you can see there's a big difference. It doesn't look like the same image. And then you look at my 50 millimeter, and you look at my 85, and they look very similar. Even just the color is similar, like the background, all that. It looks like shot with the same camera. It's just a little darker, this one, right? It's shot with the same camera, it looks like. But sorry, this and this look like two different images. This and this, sorry, I'm like, wait, that doesn't look like two different images. This and this look like it's shot with two different cameras, because it is. But I got to thinking, like, when I'm in editing, I'm like, man, when I'm editing my 24 to 70 images, I have to edit them different than that when I shoot with my 85. And even the 70 to 200 edits very similar to the 85 because of the focal length. But that's what I've noticed, and I would prefer the 50, and if I have the space, I'm going to use the 50 for portraits. So all those bridal shoots and the bridal, all that. So that was one thing that I wanted to bring up. I shot this with the 50, this is with the 85, and this is with the 24 millimeter, 24 to 70, right? And you could just see the difference in these images, and the quality just looks, to me, I would rather have, as I'm shooting images, I would rather have this image and this image versus this one. All right. Now I want to compare image quality, because that's another thing that I was talking about, right? And with the image quality, this is shot with the 24, and this is a screenshot, so it's not going to have any of that info down there. But it's the 24 to 70 shot at 24 millimeter. And as you can see, it's a decent picture. You know, you still got a nice blur in the back. But I would say that it's not the sharpest. Now, if you're a client, you probably wouldn't even notice it, right? But to be as a photographer, I notice it. Now, this is the 24 millimeter, shot at 24 millimeters. And the next image is a 50 millimeter, and you can see the difference. And honestly, like, it's amazing how sharp the 50 millimeter is compared to the 24, as the 24 to 70 is a way more expensive lens. And zoom lenses tend to be, and I know this already, zoom lenses do tend to be more expensive because you could cover so much focal length. It's like having several different lenses in one, but you sacrifice that mobility for quality. And so with that's why with the 50 millimeter, Nifty 50 costs $100. You could get a Nifty 50 for like $50, and you can create amazing images with this thing. And I got to thinking, because someone told me in a group, when I first got it started with photography, someone was making fun of someone else in a photography group for using the Nifty 50. And someone told me, a photographer told me never to sell my Nifty 50. And I believed them. And now this is coming back around to me. And I'm realizing, because the Nifty is very similar in quality to the 85 versus the 24. So that's the reason why I've decided that I would start shooting with the only portraits 50 with the Nifty. I'm going to go back to that. But I do have a camera in mind that I'm interested in buying, and that's the 35, because I believe, out of the research I'm doing, that the 35 is one of the sharpest lenses out there on the market. And I personally feel that the 85 would be, the 35 would be a good prime lens partner to the 85 millimeter. And I'm not saying the 50 isn't good, but I don't think it's as sharp as what I've seen with the 35 millimeter. I think the images to me look better that I've seen, and I've seen in groups too. I've seen in groups, a lot of these images you see here are being shot at 1.4 aperture, and what you're seeing is like really, really sharp images from people who are not even photographers. Like, and I find that to be so interesting. Like, that people can create such amazing images and not even have very much experience, and you could capture beautiful images like this. Imagine what you could do if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So I find that to be the case, and I'm interested in purchasing the Sigma 35 once I have the money. I don't have the money just yet, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and I just bought a 360 photo booth. So I currently don't have the money to buy it, but I'm interested. Now, this goes back to, I don't know if I shared it, but this goes back to a list that I found on a photography group. And basically, this lady is saying these are all the lenses for wedding photography. And I have to agree with it. I have every one of these lenses except the 35 millimeter lens. And it happens to be 35 1.4 is the one that I'm looking to purchase. And so that would be the next thing for me. Now, like, I think this is a complete list of all the lenses that you would need to really be successful with wedding photography. Now, you could go with the 85 and the 50 and that's it. But for me, I find that having the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200 really kind of makes your work a little bit more versatile, and you're not just stuck at one or two focal lengths, you know. I love that. So that's just how I'm going to end it. All right, peace.